Donnie's been making moves. First of all, this came out. I don't know if you guys saw this. What, Mom Donnie's phone number got leaked?
You're even stronger if you're all together.
Alone, we are curious. Who's
No,
feeling
Trump.
curious?
That's funny.
Are you curious about the next page?
Yeah.
Let's get there.
Nice segue. Who's made a sandcastle before?
I was building a little castle.
We're trying to build more housing in New York City.
Dude, he has so much sauce! Someone in my server recently was like a Mao-Leninist saying Mom Donnie was like a neoliberal, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking joking me.
The mayor says he's the best singer.
I did not say that.
Just a little pressure here.
There's a little pressure. Well, I'm gonna ask my friend, the president. Let's go round and round.
Dude, Mom Donnie telling a group of little children that they're gonna build more housing in New York City made me laugh so hard. Obama was the most competent president. Yeah, but he also like ruined the fucking country. He could have absolutely fucked over Republicans and chose not to. He could have eaten Wall Street alive and chose not to. Even Obama has to pay respect to the Riz of the Z-Man. I don't know if you guys saw the Instagram post. The Mom Donnie Instagram post of this, but why does Fentanyl look like me? What the fuck? I just saw a picture of on Fentanyl's Instagram. They look identical to me. Mom Donnie. Where? Okay, no. That's probably not there. Mom Donnie.
Good girl.
Dark Nova VT, thank you for the follow. Somebody sent me the post to Mom Donnie at one point. Where the fuck is the Mom Donnie? Is that on Obama's page? Mom Donnie. Where's the post where him and Obama, or unless that was like an Obama post? Was that an Obama post? It was an Obama post. Dude, there's whack ass comments in here that are like, they're taking over, or they're taking over our city, they're taking over our culture, Muslims and black people everywhere. Some gross ass shit. I don't like Obama, by the way. I'll let that be known right here and right now. I do not like Obama. Oh, but Mom Donnie's been doing shit, dude. He's been making work.
1960s to anti-war protests just this month. Our city's history is written by those who refuse to stay silent. As mayor, I stand firmly on the side of New Yorkers' right to challenge power. Yes, even mine. Last month, the City Council passed 2 bills related to this right, known as buffer zone bills. Today, I am letting one of them go into effect and vetoing the other. Here's why. The first bill is Intro 1B, which applies to houses of worship. I understand this issue is deeply significant to many New Yorkers. The right to worship is as sacred as the right to protest. New Yorkers deserve the ability to gather with fellow congregants, listen to scripture, and pray freely. The original version of the bill raised constitutional concerns. However, the final version of it as passed is narrower in scope and effect. It requires the NYPD to write down its existing practices related to protests near houses of worship. That is why I will allow this legislation to go into effect, although I disagree with its framing of all protest as a security concern. The second, Intro 175B, which applies to educational institutions, is meaningfully different. The problem is how widely this bill defines an educational institution and the constitutional concerns it raises regarding New Yorkers' fundamental right to protest. As the bill is written, everywhere from universities to museums to teaching hospitals could face restrictions. Say you're a worker protesting ICE, or a college student demanding your school divest from fossil fuels, or demonstrating in support of Palestinian rights.
Dude, he has so much sauce! He has so much sauce, man! Oh my god, I love him! Oh, that's my mayor right there, says the Midwest princess. Dude, I love him. He did such a good job.
My own hometown, the borough of the Bronx, New York, just down the street from Yankee Stadium. And for the next hour, some other folks who live here are going to talk to the man who just a little over 100 days ago stepped into what some have called the second toughest job in America, the mayor of New York City.
Yeah, no, it is the second toughest job in the United States, because being mayor of New York is like being president of a country.
New York City is so much bigger than you think. 8.5 million
Or
people.
New York City.
100 different ethnicities, speaking 200 different languages, the largest Jewish population outside of Israel, the largest Muslim population in the hemisphere, the largest Chinese population of any city outside of Asia, more black residents than any city in the US, the most billionaires on planet Earth with millions of others living below the poverty line. And believe it or not, more Trump voters than in any one of a dozen red states that elected him. This past November, this city, for its 112th mayor, chose this guy.
Yeah, baby!
Go on, guys. You have 60 seconds to talk to us about the election.
Zohran Mamdani came from mere obscurity to change the way winning campaigns are run.
New York, will you accept this
Mamdani's used to be grown on trees.
With a populist message to do something about the cost of living.
How about the cost of living?
Sucks.
We're going to make buses fast and...
His rise made him a rock star on the left and a boogeyman on the right.
We put in a communist.
No one is safe.
I have friends of mine in New York. They are officially depressed and scared.
And even if he's managed to tame the man in the White House,
We agree on a lot more than I
He did. He did. How was your day? Good.
would have thought.
in the end, he's still got to run
I just woke up like an hour ago.
this city.
I was out until like 3 a.m. to be fair.
Tonight, All In comes to the Bronx for a special town hall with the mayor and the people. This is All In America with Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Good evening from the amazing Bronx Children's Museum. I'm Chris Hayes. This was the front page of the New York Post the day Zohran Mamdani was elected mayor of New York City. The red apple, very good at that. It's the culmination of one of the most improbable political stories of the Trump age. A grassroots progressive campaign like no one had ever seen before, with more opposition from Republicans, from a Democratic political dynasty, from the president, from the media than we'd ever seen. And he won with a laser
Dude,
focus
also hit, like, I want to be in a polycule with him and his wife. It's so bad.
on a core message of making it more affordable for the people who live here. It's been a little over 100 days. The city has not fallen into communism just yet. But he does have a
Dude, if you look up pictures of Mamdani, it's just pictures of him smiling. You look at pictures of Trump, it's pictures of him frowning.
job to do. We've invited an audience of New Yorkers to join us here, someone who voted for this mayor,
Either smiling or like really actively listening.
someone who didn't. Some are supportive of his policies and others are not. This is New York, so no one is ever going to be shy about sharing an opinion, and the mayor isn't shy about hearing them. Let's welcome now Mayor Zohran Mamdani.
He comes on stage like a fucking athlete!
See you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for having me. I wore a suit so I can match your energy.
Thank you.
You know, you were an assembly member just like maybe the last time I saw you actually, and just a few months ago. It's a very different job than this job. What's the biggest thing you've learned? The biggest realization you've had actually being in that position?
You know, I think the biggest thing, first and foremost, is that New Yorkers' trust for all of the big ideas that we have about delivering universal childcare, about making the most expensive city in America affordable for working class people who help it keep it running. That trust starts when you fill in those potholes. Because you can't tell someone to trust city government and its ability to deliver free childcare for 2-year-olds for the first time in its history if they can look out the window and see the same pothole unfilled as it was the day before, the week before, the month before, the year before. And so at the same time that we've been pursuing this agenda that would transform the lives of New Yorkers, delivering a pathway to universal childcare on day 8, we've also filled in 102,000 potholes in that same 100-day period. We started to repave more than 1,000 miles of roadway. And all of this comes back from a belief that there's no problem too big, no task too small, and we call this pothole politics.
Well, you know, there's this phrase called sewer socialism.
Yes,
It comes
sir.
out of the Milwaukee particularly, right? There's a number of socialist mayors in Milwaukee, and the idea that, you know, the only way you deliver on your ideology, whatever it is, no matter, and particularly if it's a radical one, is that you have to give people clean water and things like that. Are you informed by that tradition? Is that something you're thinking about?
Very much so. I think oftentimes people think of politics as
God, dude, he's so good. We need a Mamdani in every fucking state.
intellectual debate.
If we get a Mamdani-like person to run for president, they would sweep. They would sweep. They would sweep. A progressive populist would do so well, and the Democrats will never admit it.
Working people want to know if you can actually deliver for them. And one of those mayors in Milwaukee, their phrase was go after it and get it. We've talked about this for long enough. New Yorkers want to see, can you actually deliver on these things? And they want to measure it in the way that they experience government on a day-to-day basis. That's why we're focusing on the little things while also pursuing the big ones.
Do you think that you have, I mean, you are, Mayor of New York is always somewhat of a national figure, kind of. They also never have a national career in politics. Those two things I think are related. It's a tough job to come out of everyone being like, that guy's awesome. Do you feel like you're carrying an ideological burden for the flag of democratic socialism, which you proudly are, right? And you're the most powerful democratic socialist in the country. And people are going to point to whether things go well here or poorly here as evidence of whether that's an ideology that is worth anything.
Well, I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, which
This is what a hot politician looks like. All right, it doesn't matter about how hot he is. He also has the sauce.
the worth of an ideology is judged in its delivery. And to me, this is an incredible opportunity. We've been told for so long, even over the course of the campaign, that things like universal childcare could never be done. On day 8, I stood next to Governor Hochul. We announced $1.2 billion in funding.
Personality?
That will now, for the first time in
Okay,
history,
yeah.
deliver free childcare for 2-year-olds.
You're an ace. You're an ace. Also, Callie, I've been like recording for like 30 minutes, by the way, and I've only been live for 16.
And that is something that you don't have to explain to a parent.
But you got 2,000, just to be clear, you got 2,000 seats. The big city. 8
I
million
went
people,
live
2,000
on
seats this year,
TikTok and
right?
forgot to go live on Twitch and
Every
YouTube.
single 2-year-old by the end of year 4. And the importance of that.
By year 4, if it happens, right?
It will happen. This is not an inshallah promise.
Right, okay.
This is definitely happening. And I say that to you because Senator Warren talks about childcare as infrastructure. The way that you deliver this, it's not just a question of securing the funding. It's also working with the childcare providers who have been at the heart of what's made it possible for so many families to be here and building out their capacity to deliver for more children than we've ever seen engaging in this kind of service in New York City.
Affordability, which we're going to talk through throughout the hour, was the sort of central
thinking about it.
note. Yes, well, you're very on message, which, to your credit. In the mayoral election before you were elected, particularly coming out of 2020, 2021, there's a huge amount of attention on policing and crime, right? And we saw a big uptick in crime in New York City and nationally. We're seeing something pretty remarkable happening, which is basically the inverse. And, you came out and celebrated.
And Mamdani did not focus on crime. This is how you reduce crime. You make the cities that your people and constituents live in better to live in. That's how you reduce crime. It's the easiest fucking solution on earth.
The lowest homicide rate I think the city's recorded in many, many decades. But it's not just New York City. Mayor Lurie in San Francisco is going to take credit for it there, and Brandon Scott in Baltimore, Kash Patel, the FBI, and Donald Trump in the White House are going around saying, hey, we've got the lowest crime rate ever because of what I did. What is your understanding or theory for what is happening with crime in your city?
Well, I think there's a few things. We're seeing that our approach to public safety is working, and not just in a sense of a general decline, but to actually correct you a little, it's not just the lowest number of murders in the last few decades, it's the lowest number of murders ever in recorded history. Yes. The joint lowest number of shootings. It's a decline of crime across major categories by more than 9%. It's also not enough. New Yorkers do not measure their lives by statistics. They want to know that you are doing everything in your power to deliver public safety. And the importance of public safety, it's not actually divorced from the conversation around affordability. It's the cornerstone. It's the platform that allows you to do that work of affordability. Because if someone is not safe in their city, then that is the first concern they have, even before the other ones that we speak about.
I mean, let me give an interpretation of what I've seen, and you can respond to it, which is that progressive governance is impossible if people are scared. And progressive politics essentially become choked off. And what I've seen is you're someone who has had these commitments to fast and free buses and universal childcare. When you look at policing, there's things you've said you want to do. You want to get rid of this gang database, which is you've been very critical of. There's a special unit that sort of polices protests you said you want to disband. The gang database is still there. The special unit that polices protests just arrested a bunch of people at a protest. From the outside, it looks like you basically said, look, I'm not going to touch the policing stuff. It's too dangerous, either substantively or politically. I'm going to focus on this other stuff, and I'm going to let the commissioner and sort of status quo policing continue. Is that a fair characterization?
I wouldn't say so. I'll push you on a little bit for a few reasons. One of the reasons that I made the decision to retain our police commissioner.
God, and that would be such an easy question to say yes, and it would lose a lot of progressives, but that's what every Democrat on earth would say yes to that. And they would say yes because I trust the police commissioner and I trust the policing system. Like, maybe a few progressive Democrats wouldn't, but like every other Democrat in the fucking nation would say yes to that. And it's such an easy thing for them to go like lean more neoliberal, lean more right, but no, he's attacking that head on.
Was not just because of what she was delivering in terms of public safety, but also how she'd been able to uproot corruption from the upper echelons of the NYPD. We need a government that is not just efficient, but also excellent, one that can be trusted in the work that it does. Now, my belief in the importance of disbanding the Strategic Response Group, it continues just as strongly as it was during the campaign. The reason for that is I don't think we need to couple our response to protests with our response to counterterrorism threats. This is a modern conflation that has happened, and it's one that I'm committed to disbanding. The disbanding of it is one that we're going to do thoughtfully to ensure that we are also respecting the right to protest and keeping New Yorkers safe. But again, it's not an if for me, it's a when.
You've gotten a lot of attention for the relationship that you have cultivated with the president. You've been asked about this a lot. It is, I mean, I gotta say, again, from the outside, it's an amusing thing to watch. Particularly when you said to the reporter in front of him, like, no, he is a fascist. And he said, no, it's okay, go ahead and answer, What's going on? Like, what is it? Explain it. Why? How did this happen?
When you were introducing this and we were stepping out, you were saying...
God, it was so funny. It was so funny, dude. I love that interview so much.
These are New Yorkers. Right. No one's going to be shy about their opinions. And in many ways, one of the few things the president and I have in common is that we are both New Yorkers. For all of our political disagreements, we have one agreement of chief importance, which is that we love this city. And with the president, I'm honest, I'm direct, and I try and always bring it back to what would actually benefit the city. So when I'm sitting there with the president and I'm talking about the opportunity to work together to deliver more housing than we've seen in a single housing development since the early 1970s, I'm also speaking about the fact that I think that ICE raids are cruel and inhumane, and that the fact that that morning they had detained a Columbia student is part and parcel of why this is not something that is actually serving the interests of public safety. And so I gave the president a list of 5 names of people who were detained in or around Columbia. He called me 30 minutes after the meeting and said, I've made the decision to release the student that you brought up.
He's not happy with the new tax plan on the basically second homes for very, very wealthy people. He said, you're destroying New York. It has no chance. The United States of America should not contribute to its failure. It'll only get worse. The tax policies are so wrong. People are fleeing. This must change our ways and fast. History has proven this stuff just doesn't work. Thank you for attention to this matter. It did seem a little more in sorrow than in anger. He felt a little betrayed.
I think the president knows exactly where I stand.
And I guarantee if Mamdani and Trump had a phone call, Trump would take back that post in like a heartbeat.
on these issues, and I know where the president stands on these issues. I ran a campaign speaking very plainly about the fact that in the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the world, it's unacceptable that 1 in 4 New Yorkers are living in poverty. And as we're facing a generational fiscal deficit, I believe it's only right to ask those who don't live in New York City, but who own a second home in New York City, and that second home is worth more than $5 million in New York City, to pay a little bit more so that everyone can afford to live here.
It did occur to me he might actually have to pay the tax.
We don't have exceptions in our taxes that we propose.
You mentioned ICE and you mentioned immigration. I mean, it has been notable that we've had this, trail of elevated ICE enforcement and CBP enforcement that we saw in Los Angeles, we saw it in Chicago, we of course very famously saw it in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities. There have been elevated ICE enforcement here in New York City, they've been at the courts and things like that, but we have not seen something like the operation in Minneapolis. Does that hang over you as a kind of sort of Damocles? Does it feel like it's something the president could threaten every moment? Do you feel like part of your relationship with him is staving that off, to be honest?
I mean, my relationship with the president is important to deliver for New Yorkers. And I've made it very clear to the president that increased ICE presence, it would just be an increase on what we've seen with ICE raids, which is just cruel and inhumane. I've also been honest about the fact that I think ICE is an agency that should be abolished. It's a modern creation. Our country has had answers to immigration long before we had ICE. And we also see that these kinds of raids, just a few nights ago, ICE detained a delivery worker. This is a man who came to the city with the dreams of building up a life for himself and his family. No active investigation, no warrant. He finished a Grubhub delivery and then was taken by armed, masked federal agents. That's what we're talking about here in New York City. It's the public school student, Dylan Contreras, whose family we worked with to ensure that he would come home. That's the kind of person that's getting detained in the city. And that's why New Yorkers are sick of this approach, one, frankly, of a complete absence of humanity.
He has the sauce, dude. He has the sauce. Dude, the amount of people that still shit on Mamdani from the left is completely fucking ridiculous. People who shit on the Mamdani from the left have no home in my heart. Because why? Why would you ever do that? Why would you take the moment to shit on the best mayor that we've had in probably over a decade in any city in the US? Just to be like, oh, you're not being left enough. You're not institutionalizing communism. Like, dude, politics are in a vacuum, moron. I can't stand Mao-Leninism. Pisses me off, man. It pisses me off. Oh, I can't wait to see what Mamdani does going forward. I love him. I love him to death.